Phobia is an irrational fear. It's not irrational to fear these things. Now, if I hold this book up and say, there will never be peace on this earth so long as we have this book, is a violent and cursed book. That's
wrong.
Can I tell you who said that? Can I tell you who said that?
You put the
Sir William Gladstone said that.
You wouldn't do that with...
Sir William Gladstone
would you do that with the Bible? Show some respect.
Show some respect.
Show some respect.
Have you read this book?
For people...
Have you read this book?
There are over a billion people...
There are 100 verses in this book that incite violence and murder against us.
Show some damn respect for people's religious beliefs, right?
I should show some respect for a book that incites murder against me and
put it down.
And calls me an animal. No, I won't put it down. Sir William Gladstone held this book above his head in Parliament and he said there will never be peace on this earth so long as we have this book.
All the world's a stage.
Once again, for the Skull-Phil Talks podcast, here's your host, Phil Green.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Skull-Phil Talks. So that little introduction there was of our lovely Piers Morgan talking to Tommy Robinson, referenced the Quran. So much has gone on this week. There's been attacks in Canada using explosives. There's been another school shooting, but that's been kept quiet. There's so much that's gone on, and I'm at a loss really with our mainstream media, the coverage it gets. So instead of talking about bits and bobs what's gone on during the week, I kind of wanted to kind of touch base with the things that I'm seeing from people who just take mainstream media at face value. And that's something that you need to not do. So that introduction you had, Tommy Robinson basically was talking about, defending himself like usual. Yeah, so before we go any further, I just want to state for the record that I'm not a 100% Tommy Robinson supporter. I believe some of the things he says, I agree with some of the things he says, but I also disagree with some things that he says. But here's a little caption off his video, Piers Morgan talking to an ex-Muslim who is open about the extremism of Islam.
Yeah, I was an extremist. I was one of them, and I'm a former extremist, and I understand the minds of extremists, and I know how to de-radicalize too. I can help these people with, just like they get indoctrinated, you can be unindoctrinated. It just takes some re-education, and a little bit of empathy goes a long way.
So what do you believe? What do you believe the Quran tells you now?
So here's Piers asking, what do you believe the Quran says now? Leaving him one stage. So he's probably expecting her to say something quite nice.
I think the Quran is a terrible book. I think the Quran is a terrible book.
So there you go, there's Tommy's response to it all. But basically, Piers Morgan says, what do you think of the Quran? And she says, I think it's an awful book. It's just very strange that Piers Morgan didn't give the same response to an ex-Muslim regarding her statements about the Quran that he gave Tommy Robinson about his statements about the Quran.
Visit skullphil.com and support the show.
But look, this is kind of the subject I want to cover in this episode, is the mainstream media. There's so many people who I know and I talk to and I see who they will watch BBC News and take it at face value. They don't have the energy to go out and find for themselves what's actually going on. They don't have the... I don't know how to really word it, but a lot of people are quite happy being ignorant about the truth. Now, this isn't conspiracy theory or anything like that. This is actual genuine stuff, and you can see for yourself. Let's go back to 9/11. So 9/11, the BBC doing a live presentation talking about how World Trade Center 7 has collapsed. And while they're giving that speech, the reporter stood in front of a window looking across the skyline, and World Trade Center 7 still stood behind her, just over her left shoulder. It stays up for like another 14 minutes or something daft like that. So what you've got her telling you the future. Now, funny enough, when that happens, not long after her saying that, somebody must have clicked, because then the static came in and, oh look, we've lost connection. Now, when it comes to mainstream media, you've got to realise something. And I believe it was Goebbels who said, whoever controls the media controls the people. Because there's so many people who believe that Trump's hated in America. He's destroying the country, he's doing all this. And Do you know what? If you actually take some time to talk to American people, that's what I do on a daily basis. I reach out to as many people as I can to try and get a bigger understanding of what's going on. And it's not long, even if you just watch some of the, I've said it before, some of the people like Ben Shapiro, Louder with Crowder, people like this. I'd stay away from Alex Jones, I'll be honest with you, because I believe InfoWars is starting to go down the pan. Alex seems to have lost his way a little bit, and it looks as though they're lashing out. Now, this might all be a bit of an over-exaggeration on our part, but it looks like they're lashing out because they're maybe losing the run for it. There's a lot more people there's a lot more people generating content and kind of matching what InfoWars was doing, but probably on a better stance without the rhetoric and kind of craziness that come along with Alex. But look, you need to broaden your horizons. You need to look at the bigger picture. And I've emailed the BBC, I've written to the BBC, I've tweeted the BBC, I've done everything I physically can to communicate with the BBC, and I've asked them, can you please tell me a date and a time when you broadcasted something positive about Donald Trump? And I ain't got an answer yet. Whenever Donald Trump does anything at all, the BBC are straight at it. They're straight on the negative tone. And even if it's a positive story and it's a happy story, you end up getting the presenters being very negative towards Donald Trump, and that's because they're told to be like that. They're brainwashed. We talk about Islamic extremists. Well, you need to wake up, because the middle class and upper class are just as brainwashed, but with regards to what the government want them to think. So, what can I... Oh my God, there's 1,000,001 examples. The Russian... I mean, look at the Russian poisoning that I've discussed multiple times in other episodes. And it's just... They will come up with a story. You will watch it and Russian poisoning. So, straight away, Russia's done this, Russia's done that. All the media, everybody bashing Russia. When it starts coming out that it really isn't Russia, and Russia's quite innocent, and they get cleared of it, you don't see those stories because they've already set your head into thinking Russia is evil. Now, I would never dictate what to watch and what to listen to, but start watching some RT news. It's a news network. You can watch it online, you can watch it on telly. It is Russian based, but you will then see the other side of the coin. You'll see that President Putin's opened up and gone, look, don't worry about America putting embargoes in place, blah, 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 blah. Let's start having a positive relationship. And that's Putin. Putin's the one who's approaching and saying, let's be positive. You've also got to look at France. France has just made an agreement with Russia for, I believe, just over $1 billion to pump it in, basically, for trade agreement. We're going to get left behind because we're stuck behind a government. And I don't just mean the elected government, because if you think that that's where the power stops, then you're too far out the equation. You need to think the power doesn't stop at government. It doesn't stop in Westminster. There's a power above. You've got all your gentlemen's clubs and places like that where all these Soros people and just all these sort of back players who start pushing in agendas. If you think I'm a bit crazy and I'm going off on one, you've only got to look at donors and the whole term a lobbyist. It's open for you to see that there is companies and there is groups who every year push money, lots and lots and lots of money into the main political parties with one condition. We will give you X amount of money, but we want you to do this, this and this. And if you think it's not happening, it is. It's called lobbying. It's an open thing. It's a public thing. You can lobby a government party. And what they do at the same time is they donate to them. So anyways, a bit of a rant. Look, mainstream media's fucked. It's going down. End of. All you need to do is look at America. So CNN used to be biggest network in America. It used to be massive. Their figures are less than a bloody 2 o'clock in the morning showing of paint drying. You need to start taking in more notice. If you look at America, America is a test strip. America's a petri dish. Whatever's happening in America is going on here. But with America, it's all out in the open. So you've got Donald Trump. Donald Trump, there was a big massive scandal to do with Russia. saying that Russia had got involved with the elections, blah, 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 blah. Well, what you haven't heard and what hasn't been publicised is he's being cleared. It's been cleared that there was no collusion with Russia. And in fact, if anything, they found evidence to show that Hillary Clinton was looking for influence in that sort of department. So what you've got now is a massive thing called Spygate that's coming about. And I'm going to do an episode over, we're hitting a weekend, so I'm going to do an episode over the weekend just to introduce whoever wants to listen to my fucking ramblings to a phenomenon called Q. Basically, it's somebody who's in American military intelligence working alongside Trump, who is not feeding information out to the public, but is putting, well, they're referred to as like crumbs, breadcrumbs. He'll point to certain things and maybe put certain words into a post, and then you've got a thing called anons on the chan boards. I'll explain it all in a separate episode, but basically Trump is doing very well, and he's attacking what they refer to in America as the deep state. Now, the deep state is like your Hillary Clintons, your George Soros, all your crooked FBI leaders who all got sacked not so long ago, your CIA leaders who were crooked, who all got sacked not so long ago. Now, it's actually come out that Donald Trump was getting spied on, which is against election policy in America. But look, we're not going to get involved in American laws, but you need to realise something. He wasn't getting spied on by anyone in America. He was getting spied on by GCHQ and MI5 and 6. Now, that's English. That's our security services. That's our secret service. GCHQ is an intelligence gathering communications monitoring network. They're based down south in Cheltenham, I think so. The building is absolutely huge. It looks like a donut. And then you've got MI5 and MI6. Now, what there is in place is a thing called the Five Eyes. Now, some of you will know it, some of you won't. In a country, so say in Britain, it's against the law for our spy network, our secret services, to monitor British citizens unless they have a justifiable reason, so terror threat or something along them lines. They can't just do blanket surveillance. They can't just openly monitor everything that goes on. They can't monitor every email that comes out. So what there is there's a thing called Five Eyes, and it's 5 countries, and it's America, Canada, the UK, New Zealand, and Australia. So what we do is our security services spy on each other's citizens. So we'll spy on American, because that's not illegal, because to us they're foreigners. So we spy on them and we gather information. But once we've got that information, we'll then turn around to like the NSA and go, oh guys, we've come across this. We seem to have some information. Do you want it? They then have not illegally monitored anybody. They're just there's an intelligence sharing agreement between the countries. And that's all they're doing. They're just sharing intelligence that they've got. And this is how they get around the massive law about spying on your own citizens. And it's come out that the English Secret Services was spying on Donald Trump. It's also now come out that there may have been up to 3 or 4 FBI agents who were putting his election party undercover. That's illegal. So what you're seeing at the moment is the head of the FBI got sacked some time ago, and now Donald Trump's moving in. The FBI itself, the guys on the ground, they're all good guys. It's more the people at the top who are crooked as fuck. So now Donald Trump's going in. He can then say, well, hang on, I was getting spied on whilst my election was running. And there's about 4 or 5 different strands. Harvey Weinstein, he's who got done in Hollywood for sexual offences. Keep an eye on him, because he's probably not going to go to prison. He's probably going to get a deal made so that he then hands over information on Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Soros, all of them, because the magical thing is they're all involved quite openly, and there's quite a lot of evidence already. They've been involved in people trafficking, basically trafficking kids from Haiti, I think it is. That's how you pronounce it. And other places. There's a massive thing. All you need to do is Google Pizzagate, Spygate, Hillary Clinton sex charges. Just have a look at what's actually going on. So the reason why I'm going so heavily into this sort of topic is because we've got absolutely fuck all going on the TV. We're getting blagged off with Brexit and stuff like that. And now they're bringing up the Scottish independence vote's going to happen again. It's all just a way of changing the scene. It's a way of changing what's on the TV. It's a way of reprogramming your mind so you don't ask too many questions. So during the presidential election in the USA, Britain's secret services, GCHQ and MI5 and MI6 was doing observations. The FBI have been caught out. That's coming about that there was actually FBI agents undercover within his election party. That's a massive no-no for a kick-off. There's all these things going on, and all I see people doing is clicking likes to doggy pictures on Facebook, and it frustrates me so fucking much that there's so much stuff going on at the moment, and the majority of the people in this country are getting bullshitted to and are happy to believe it. So you need to stay away from mainstream media, use YouTube, look at alternative means, have a look at the papers. I mean, the majority of the papers are owned by one company. I think one company has 4 of them and another company might have 2 of them, and people think that they're all, oh, well, the Independent says this and such says that. Yeah, but they're owned by the same fucking people. It's the same with magazines. So when I used to be into photography quite a lot, there was 3 or 4 magazines that I was quite into, and I used to get them on a regular basis. Now we're talking like 5-6 quid a time. But do you know when you actually looked at the publisher, who was writing the articles and the editor, and it was the same fucking people. So then when you actually read what was inside, it was the same stuff. So you might as well just buy one, because you're going to get the same as anyways. Take some time out. Have a look at the alternative media. Have a look at what's really going on in the world. There's more going on behind the scenes, but it's there for you to see if you just take some time to have a look. Trump is doing a great job. Our country, the UK, is going down the pan. It's going down the pan because there's not that many of us that are actually giving a fuck. There's too many of us that are trapped in our little rat race instead of lifting your head up and realising, do you know what, we need to sort the country out. The country's going to cock. I released an article regarding the mental health situation in the country. There's some quite interesting statistics in it and some viewpoints, but you need to realise that we are going down the hill. We cannot keep going how we are. We're on course to self-destruct, and it's an absolute shame. Now, just one on Brexit. All these people who are getting excited because they think there's going to be another vote for us to stay in, or it's just going to get overruled by the House of Lords. You know, if it does, that's going to be the worst thing in existence. Because have a look at the EU. The majority of countries want to leave the EU. The EU itself is not financially stable. It's crumbling all the time. That's why they want so much money off us when we leave, is to prop them up, because we're not there anymore to give them all this money. So, yeah, great stuff. You might get your wish. Brexit might get cancelled, might get shoved under a rug and we'll stay in. If that happens, that's the country gone to the fucking dogs. Because what we're going to do when the EU does fail, or what we're going to do when we don't have any money of our own because the EU's taking it all off us because they need to prop up Romania or another country. So look, it's just frustrating. Do you know, people need to start looking past the world of Facebook, and do you know, it's absolute bollocks. The country that you're living in, the place where theoretically some of you are going to be spending the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, your life, and you're not even taking an interest in what's happening to the country, and the country's going down the fucking pan. Now, I've mentioned a lot about leftism in politics, and how they're basically just fascist, crooked, horrible individuals who want to dictate what you can say, how you can say it, when you can say it. I am on the right of politics. I am on the right wing of politics. But the left will say you get a liberal left, you get a conservative, blah, 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 and it's a steady increase until you get to the extreme leftism. But do you know if you say you're on the right-wing politics, you're automatically classed as an extremist? We're not allowed to do that. We're Muslims, so why are we allowed to do it with people who have right-wing politics? And the only thing that makes me right-wing is because I believe in the UK citizens should come before everybody. Now, I'm not against immigration. We need immigration. It's part of running a fundamentally efficient country, is to have immigration, is for our citizens to move out into the world and then come back, and we take people in and we keep the population at a steady level. I'm for that. But what I'm not for is every single time that I make the statement of, well, yeah, let's have immigration, but let's have some controls in so that immigration actually benefits us instead of puts a burden on us. People automatically think I'm being racist, and I don't understand how that statement is racist. But it's easy to call someone racist because this is what they do. So you get people like Tommy Robinson, who, alright, he might be a little bit extreme in some of his views. I don't think he is. I think he's quite an educated guy who, he might make statements, but he's, for all wants and purposes, he's quite grassroots. He's not come from Oxford or Cambridge. He's been in prison. He's been in fights. He's had a punch. He's one of us, working class. I hesitate to say working class because obviously I don't know any guys in their early 20s having 7 houses and 2 or 3 businesses, but he obviously did well for himself. Now, what we need to do as a nation is actually be proud of our nation, because we've had the past, fucking hell, as long as I can remember, 20 years, we've been penalised for being proud. We're being picked on because we're proud of our country. St George's Day comes and goes without hardly a mention. There's more people who aren't Irish who celebrate St Paddy's Day, go out and get pissed, worry. But when it comes to St George's Day, you're not even allowed to wear an England flag. I think it's fucking disgusting. I really do. Why should you be made to feel ashamed of your own country? Alright, I'm a 33-year-old guy who's got depression, who has a lot of mental health issues and who's trying to hold down a normal life, but look, at the end of the day, if I can sit here and go, what a shame that we're getting made to feel like shit just for being proud of our country, for being patriotic, for being proud, for being British, and then that automatically makes me racist, according to the majority of people. That's heartbreaking. Look, if you feel the same, or if you have that sort of opinion, I've designed a shirt. It's up in the Skullfield store. Just go to the website and click shop at the top, and it's in the t-shirts. And there's one for Scotland, there's one for England. I'm gonna do a shirt for Wales and a shirt for Ireland, because we're all individual nations joined together under the Union. And that union's the Union Jack. We need to stick together as the United Kingdom and stop being made to feel guilty because you're English, you're Scottish, you're Irish, you're Welsh. Be proud of your nationality. Be proud of where you come from. And let's start taking it to task with these people who want to stand there and go, you're proud of being English? Oh, you racist bastard. Let's put them in the firing line. Right, you was born in England, you work in England, you live in England, you're trying to influence English laws. Are you not proud of being English? I think it's kind of a diluted version of what's happening in America when it comes to white privilege. Basically, there's a thing going on in America where if you're white and you're successful, you need to be sorry, you need to be held accountable because you're only successful because of the slave trade. What the fuck is the world coming to? Seriously. Right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there because I'm waffling a bit and I'm still a little bit under the weather. So take care. Look, over the weekend, it's a weekend that this is getting made on. Over the weekend, I'm going to do some specials. I'm going to do an introduction to QAnon for anybody who doesn't know. Seriously, it's fascinating, and you really get to understand the inside baseball of what's going on in America, and you get to see what Trump's doing. Trump is fucking phenomenal. He's kicking ass. He's wiping out all the negative globalists. And do you know what? If you think that just because we're in the UK and it's going on in America, it doesn't affect us. You need to fucking look at history. A gentleman called George Soros, one of the richest men in the world, funds people like Antifa. He funds rallies, and he funds sort of leftist parties and groups. And do you know, if you look at the track record, he seems to be quite violent ones that he's happy to support. And he wants that because they want open borders. They want it so that all the small sovereign states merge together. Look at the EU. Before Brexit started kicking off, there was talking about a national anthem for the EU. An actual president who commanded the rest of Europe, not like the commissioner or whatever they call him now that they've got, like Theresa May, but covering all of Europe. I mean, where the fuck's that come from? Because we didn't ask for this. And do you know the people who wanted to remain in? I understand you wanted to remain in because of like trade and because of business and the potential to cross borders without having to worry about visas and that sort of shit. But do you know what? That had fuck all to do with it. They wanted our money. Primarily. They wanted to abuse the NHS system, which is getting smashed to fuck. Fucking Google health tourism in the UK. There is planefuls of people coming in on a monthly basis. They land, get on a bus, and go straight to the nearest hospital and walk in and go, yeah, I need help. And our NHS will treat them. And then they fuck off back to their own country again. Well, I'm sorry, but if your husband, wife, son, daughter, brother, sister, mum or dad, grandma or granddad, if someone in your family is sat on a waiting list to get an operation done or to get seen for something, you want to have a look at health tourism in the UK, and you'll see why you're on a fucking waiting list. But again, Phil needs to be quiet because people are interested. What they're interested in is the next video that's going to come up on Facebook, the next picture. Can they do a fucking pose with a duck pout? Give your head a bang. Join the family. Get in touch. Get involved. And you know what I'm going to say? Take care, motherfuckers.
Thanks for listening. Visit skullfill.com to stay up to date and support the show. See you next time.